Hey guys, it's the end of 2019, and a lot of us obviously we're spending good time with our family, and we're very thankful for all the great things that have happened in 2019. Just have a real good sense of gratitude, and we look forward to really hitting it out of the park every single year, like the new year with a resolution. This year is 2019 has been a very different year for me because especially this holiday season is the first year that I don't have my dad anymore. Right. This year he passed. He had a Hep B. We didn't know. He was a lifetime cure of Hep B. Um, Supposedly, like 8% of people in China are Hep B carriers, and if undiagnosed and untreated, obviously, you could have problems longer term. So we found out in January he had really bad liver cancer, three mass up to 8 millimeters, and he had slow bleeding, which he had some cauterization and embolization. We chose not to do radiation or chemo. He was already 85, and he didn't want to do it either, so that was his choice. And then eventually he passed away. And what I wanted to do is this: that this year, I think I've always worked hard. Okay, you don't know me, but I've always worked hard. All right, but I just never really documented anything. But this year, I'll make a strong concerted effort to document just the process of me building a nutrition business, both Ingenuity, the co-packing business, plus Mycosativa, our premium lifestyle business, cannabinoid and also medicinal mushrooms, and other well-tested herbal ingredients. But what I wanted to do is, if you, hopefully you'll all eventually see me, okay, live, but at least you'll see it on the videos. I don't have it all worked out. I'm definitely a work in progress, all right? But you'll see how I pursue business, and you'll see me talking about my strengths and my weaknesses. But I think for a lot of us who are thankful for our parents, uh, we are an embodiment of them, right? You got nature versus nurture, and if you have both, that it does a lot to you. It really does a lot to you. So I just want to, on this video, thank my dad, and also to share with you some things that he went through, and maybe that's what caused me to be who I am today. So during this, next couple of days of transition, or just the, first month of the year, or whenever you see this video, maybe also think about all the good things that your parents did for you, and thank them for it, especially if they're very stoical like my dad. Right? So my dad, Ju Ho, friends, Daddy Ho, right? um, he was born on paper. He was born in 1934, but he said, um, nobody had birth certificates back then, George. So who knows really what when he was born? But he's been on his own since he was about 13. Okay, and just because of China's civil war, right? And it was just crazy stories of how he got out of China. It was like a 2 year separation from his dad until he got into Hainan and got on a boat and got to Taiwan. Um, and so he got Taiwan, and then grinded it out by himself, and then eventually met my mom, and then he worked for the U.S. government for over 20 years, and then that's eventually how we got our green card. And I'm super thankful for United States and all the difficulties my dad had to overcome to come here, right? Because you think about it, he went through a lot to go from China to Taiwan. He had a really good life. He had a good life. It was just a simple life. But my mom, which I'll show you some pictures too, she worked for a rock quarry, a marble company, and she had a lot of ladies that worked with her. And if you don't think Chinese water torture is a real thing, it is a real thing. and she wore my dad down. Okay, wore my dad down, and so he had to uproot again. And back then, there was only pretty much three jobs for a Chinese immigrant. It was MD, PhD. My dad didn't qualify. He didn't want to do laundromat, so he learned how to cook. He learned how to cook, right? He didn't cook before that much, but he learned how to cook. And um, there's a picture of him cooking. This was like I think he was in the 60s back then. But he cooked. He always cooked in mass. Okay, especially at the restaurant. Plus, even at home, just because I could give away really good food to all my teachers. So all the teachers love me. But um, you know, I could never cook the same way he could cook. Mine just wasn't as pretty. Now, if I used his ingredients, it tasted good. But he had this like unbelievably delicious chicken that everybody who had a chance to meet me and come see me in either Tennessee or in North Carolina had, and they all said, "George, you need to set up a restaurant in the Gatlinburg." But you know, restaurant days were over for us, right? But I mean, all throughout growing up, and you know, he just saved. He saved. And there are people you meet that doesn't matter how much they make, they never have enough money. And then there's other people that doesn't matter how much they make, they always save money. So my dad was definitely one of the people that no matter how much he made or didn't make, he always saved money because he always figured out a way of how to just be thrifty because he was always preparing and for whatever the vagaries of life would carry. But one of the things that's really hot these days is stoicism, right? And talked about um, all the way back in the Roman days of stoicism, and it's really really hot product. Yeah, I think one of the biggest books out in the marketplace right now is like talking about stoicism and taking a difficult path is the way. Well, my dad always took the difficult path, right? Whether it be difficult from separation from a young teenager to Taiwan, whether it be difficult uprooting himself and not knowing any English and coming in the United States, and restaurant was difficult. Didn't make a lot of money in that, but he always had a goal. And his goal was to do better for his family, right? Do better for his family. And he never complained. He never, I don't think he didn't really complain when he even had liver cancer and he was barfing up blood that much. Okay? And he was well aware. He goes, let's take family pictures now because I'm going to lose weight. He just took everything in stride because in the back of his mind, he knew what he had to overcome when he was 13. So, it doesn't matter what business you're in. If you're in the hemp business now, we know we're not rated G. Okay, there are a lot of bangs, bruises, and knockouts you have to sustain to keep grinding out and developing and putting out good products in the marketplace. And if you're new in business, then I'm going to tell you, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit a lot, and you got to get back up, right? And the way I saw things, even though it was very, very difficult, was that doesn't matter how difficult it was. I always thought about my dad, and he was 13, 14, 15, being by himself, going to Taiwan, not having any family, not having any that many connections or friends, and starting out on his own. Or coming to America. How hard was that? Whatever I had to go through, that put me in perspective. That I could make one more call, I could make one more contact, I could take one more rejection, because he sacrificed, so I got to sacrifice, and I got to make it better for my son, right? So that's the cycle we're in. He was consummate example of delayed gratification. I don't think we ever get on vacations when we were in high school or school. When eventually I got out of school. I went to UNC. I got out of school, and instead of going to become a doctor, which I think four of my best friends became doctors. Okay, I just couldn't hack it. It wasn't in my DNA. But I went to the path of business, and it was difficult. Right, it was difficult. I had a lot of ups and downs, and then started just grinding out some good cash flow streams, and he's able to go to a lot of places with um, mostly with my sister and my mom, because I was even a workaholic back then. Once in a while we would go out, and then we would have a good time. But even when we didn't, I didn't go with him, but I paid for the vacations and stuff. Uh, I'm sure he knew. Okay, I'm sure he knew that the sacrifices that he put, and he had to endure to help us come to America, to come to the greatest country in the world, of definitely for the free enterprise. It paid off. But the funny thing is that I think I'm in nutrition because, because he cooked, and nutrition is kind of like my way of cooking for masses and making people happy, all around the world, right? I don't give them like immediate taste bud happy feelings like my dad, but long term, that's what we're all about. One of my I guess favorite moments was I went to Wisconsin for a ginseng festival, and I met Paul Su. He is the most famous Taiwanese American. Obviously, a lot of people know Jeremy Lin, but if you're Taiwanese American or Chinese American, we all know that Su Ginseng is like the best American ginseng in the world. Even at a young age, my mom made me drink this ginseng every single day. And a lot of times I would like sneak to the bathroom, try to dump the ginseng tea out. She would knock on the door and harass me. Better not throw that away, George. Well, she didn't say George. She said Georgie. But when I showed him that picture with me and Paul, that really put a light and smile in his eyes, and I'm glad that he saw that before he passed. Another cool thing I discovered my dad first time we went to China back in late 1990s. He was very reticent because he didn't know English that well, right? He could understand it but he couldn't vocalize everything. So just very, very quiet man all throughout his life in the United States. But the times I saw him in China, I mean, this guy was gregarious, loquacious, magnetic. I mean, it was totally different person. Totally different person. And when I came back every single time, I found always a new respect for him because he was able to repress all of that because all he cared about was building for his family. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so I'm just imploring you that even if you don't have a family, now eventually you'll have a family, you'll understand that, up your grit, man. Up your grit. You're going to take hits in this industry. I'm just going to tell you. Doesn't matter if you're brand new or you've been in the industry for 6-7 years, or you're an OG, right? You're going to take hits in this industry. If you're in the 6-7 years, you already take so many hits, you don't, it's just second nature to you. But I'm speaking to the new people out there that, yes, it is a fabulous marketplace. You're going to take your hits, but have grit, persevere, and just outwork people, right? Out contact people, out-think people, out-deliver people. And that's the essence, in my opinion, how you're going to build a great cannabis company for the United States and eventually export it all throughout the world. Just know that I definitely stand on a shoulder of a giant, my dad, Ju Ho. Because without him and the sacrifices of him and my mom, I don't know. I don't know if I would be making these videos these days. I don't know if I would be speaking at different type of cannabinoid expos. And as you build your business, whether it be in farming, extraction, finished products, packaging, just know that this industry is growing really quickly, right? Yes, we have peaks and troughs just like every other type of business. just because we're human beings. We have natural exuberance. And when it goes up high, it goes up a little too high. When it goes down low, it goes down too low. But the regression it means is that in 5 years, we're going to be doing, they're saying $22 billion just in the United States alone, and a lot more all around the world. So just have that in mind, that you need to have like a long-term focus on trying to just build the best quality, because quality at the end of the day will win. Quality at the end of the day will win because consumers want it. And then if you provide really good stuff, there are definitely tribe members out there who are looking for the best products to put in their finished goods. All right. And then we all want to be, in my opinion, part of that tribe. Lastly, I want to thank my parents for giving me my last name, Ho. And growing up, it was a little difficult to reconcile that last name. I didn't want teachers to say that name. First day in class, they will always say, and they always pronounce it incorrectly, right? But it's been the singularly easiest icebreaker known mankind, at least for me, right? It's like in perpetuity of funny fodder. I mean, it is the most popular word that Santa Claus says all year, right? Ho, ho, ho. And I think my dad, when he passed, I don't think he really understood what ho meant in the United States. Ho means neutral, positive in China. And Mama Ho still doesn't know what a ho is in the United States. My sister Alice Ho, she knows what a hoe is, okay? She's not a hoe, really. But have a great 2019. Look forward to collaborating with you, laughing with you, and just rocking it in 2020 and beyond.